All right. Hey everyone, this is Kit Cabela with Hard Lens Media, and this is a very interesting story that has just come out. It was printed by the New York Times. Now, this has to deal with Representative Tulsi Gabbard and her campaign, as well as the tech giant Google. So, what's exactly happening? Now, we here at Hard Lens Media, we are supporters of free speech. We believe that everyone has a voice to be heard. And it's quite interesting now, once I get into the details of the story about really what the Tulsi Gabbard campaign is basically stating. And also, if you kind of look at really, her previous voting record, Paul DuPont did a great video on it. I urge all of you to check it out in regards to the BDS, in regards to, Tulsi Gabbard voting incorrectly. At least this is one of my opinions, as well as Paul DuPont's opinion on that. She should not have voted that way, but nonetheless, this is very important because this also has a concern for independent media, potential future progressives and independent candidates that will be running in the future, and the influence of these large tech giants like Google, Amazon, Facebook. So, the article starts off like this. Representative Tulsi Gabbard her campaign has filed a federal lawsuit that Google infringed on her free speech when it briefly suspended her campaign's advertising account after their first Democratic debate in June. Now, we here at Hard Lens Media covered that debate. It was a very interesting conversation what was happening there between all the candidates. The lawsuit, which was filed on Thursday in a federal court in Los Angeles, is believed to be the first time in history a presidential candidate has sued a major technology firm. Now, here's the thing. This mostly, especially when it comes down to political candidates, mostly you see conservatives, Republicans really going after these tech giants, saying that they're stifling free speech. But now, I guess Tulsi Gabbard, being a Democrat, she's one of the first ones to ever kind of file a lawsuit similar to this, or either that call out a major tech giant. Big tech giants like Google, they're increasingly getting scrutiny by lawmakers and regulators around the world for a wide variety of issues, including influence in political debate, their handling of consumer data, and the aggressive way in which they compete with smaller companies. So, mind you, just the day before Representative Tulsi Gabbard even filed this lawsuit, Facebook said that the Federal Trade Commission has also opened a formal antitrust investigation into its business practices. We here at Hard Lens Media have done numerous stories on Facebook and what they do with our private data. It shouldn't surprise anyone that basically all your data is out there. And a company like Facebook, somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, they're just going to give that data away. There's nothing you can do about it. No debate, no conversation. And so this is really upsetting a lot of people, especially people who want to protect their privacy. Tulsi Now Inc., the campaign committee for Tulsi Gabbard, has stated that Google suspended the campaign's advertising account for 6 hours on June 27th and June 28th, obstructing its ability to raise money and spread her message to potential voters. Now, again, just after that debate, especially on the first Democratic primary debate, Representative Tulsi Gabbard was the most searched candidate after that debate all over the country. And a lot of people were really impressed with Representative Tulsi Gabbard's message, and her message really resigns dealing with climate change, having a new, different type of foreign policy, and fighting for other progressive issues and policies. And it's attracted a lot of people to her campaign, both on the left and on the right. So the lawsuit also states the campaign believed that its emails were being placed in spam folders on Gmail at a very high rate, and when compared to emails from other Democratic candidates. Also, Tulsi Gabbard and her campaign are seeking an injunction, and basically what they're suing Google for is around $50 million. So this is very interesting that this is happening. A statement from Google, in this case, our system triggered a suspension and the account was reinstated shortly thereafter. We are proud to offer ad products that help campaigns connect directly to voters, and we do so without bias toward any party or political ideology. Now, again, because we also work on social media, Hard Lens Media is active on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. By the way, thank all of you. I really am grateful for all of you for joining our channel. Google has a system in which it flags unusual activity on advertiser accounts, and basically it's designed to prevent fraud or really questionable activity. But it's odd that Google would do this towards a presidential candidate. Why target her campaign out of all the other campaigns? And there's probably a good reason why. Corporate media, especially when Tulsi Gabbard made her announcement early on, She was constantly attacked. They called her a Assad puppet. They called her a Putin puppet. They said that she was a fringe candidate. And because of the mass hysteria of Russiagate, a lot of algorithms, especially on social media, go after accounts that have anything to do with Russia, RT America, anything Russia related. And because Tulsi Gabbard because Tulsi Gabbard was basically being portrayed by corporate media as being some sort of Assad puppet, Putin puppet, perhaps, this is probably very likely, Google's algorithm probably targeted her campaign, thus shutting her down. Because again, after the first Democratic primary debate, her campaign, as a candidate for the Democratic nomination, she was the most searched candidate after those debates. So there's a very good chance that the Google algorithm systematically went after it. But again, that's not right, nor is it fair, because none of the other Democratic primary challengers had that same problem. And so now, again, I'm looking at the documentation as well, indicating that, yes, this lawsuit is going through. Now, it's also important to note that she is getting a lot of support because she's pushing forward, really calling out these major tech giants. The lawsuit filed Thursday said Ms. Gabbard had joined Senator Elizabeth Warren, who was also vying to be the Democratic Party nominee, in calling up for large tech companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon to be broken up. Because let's face it, these major tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon have a major monopoly in our entire system that we have here. And just a quick reminder, Amazon paid zero in taxes. I do know this, if I or any of you did something like that, we'd be arrested without any hesitation. But it pays to be in the top 1%. So this is a statement from Tulsi Gabbard. Google's discriminatory actions against my campaign are reflective of how dangerous their complete dominance over the internet search is, and how the increasing dominance of big tech companies over our public discourse threatens our core American values. This is a threat to free speech, fair elections, and to our democracy, and I intend to fight back on behalf of all Americans. And if she actually is successfully to win this lawsuit, it would be a historic moment. We've never seen anything like this before. So again, I just want to just kind of go further into a little bit into the details, especially from comments from the Tulsi Gabbard campaign or her campaign workers. So the Gabbard campaign workers sent an email to a Google representative on June 27th at 9:30 p.m. once they realized the account has been suspended. In the emails reviewed by the New York Times, the campaign sent Google a screenshot of a notice of suspension for problems with billing information or violations of our advertising policies. The account then was reactivated at 3:30 a.m. on June 28th. In the email announcing that it reinstated the account, Google wrote that the company temporarily suspended the campaign's account to verifying billing information and policy compliance, but offered no other explanation for what had happened. Chances are the algorithm screwed up. They didn't update it. It's something we here at Heartlands Media and numerous other independent media outlets have to deal with. But it seems that potential progressive lawsuit, we might have a different type of narrative altogether. And it would be interesting because then it could show cracks in the system and influence that the major tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon have over our political system. The campaign said it had opened the Google advertising account in February and had bought ads on Google before the suspension. It said that there was no problem with its billing information and that it had not violated Google's terms of service. To this day, Google has not provided a straight answer, let alone a credible one, as to why Tulsi Gabbard's political speech was silenced when millions of people wanted to hear from her, the lawsuit said. So, again, with a candidate like Tulsi Gabbard, who is basically being smeared by establishment media and, isn't really getting a lot of coverage, how else is she supposed to get her information out there or her campaign out there? Social media is the next best step. I mean, already she's one of the most popular candidates that's right now growing in popularity, even though right now, compared to the other candidates, she's not polling that high, but she's getting close up there. Already her campaign is getting close to 130,000 individual donors, which is what you need to get on the third debate stage. This is a concern because, again, with the information, and especially with this information being verified by the New York Times, and people are really questioning Google's activity about why they basically silenced the Gabbard campaign, it really calls into question the influence and power these major tech companies have over us. They have a monopoly. Amazon has a lot of influence. Google has a lot of influence. And Facebook has a lot of influence. But they also control our private data and information. So we'll see what happens, because this is going to be an ongoing story. There's going to probably be continuous development. We here at Heartlands Media, we're going to continue covering and talking about it. But if, and again, hypothetically, if this happens, that Tulsi Gabbard is successfully able to sue Google for $50 million, potentially we could see the end of these major monopolies. Perhaps we can break them up. I don't know. This is a developing story, but we'll continue following through with it. This is Kit with Heartlands Media. Peace. Let's all do what we can to build a better future. And tune in later today at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for Chicago Corner, hosted by Lainey Peterson. And also a quick side note as well, on July 30th and July 31st, the entire Heartlands Media team will be covering the second Democratic debates. So please tune in, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram. And if you're not subscribed already to our YouTube channel, please do it already. Take care, everyone.